Welcome into A to Z Sports. Prime time on a Thursday night, the final show of the week. It feels like a very short week because it has been a short week, only 2 shows for us this week. But we are going to get into what is happening in East Tennessee, what is happening on Rocky Top, because as soon as the Vols baseball program exits the scene, it makes room for football, and football lives to make news. We'll say that politely. Kaidon Salter has been dismissed from the football program. It happened this morning. We'll get into the details of it over the course of this evening show, and really the implications that it has on Tennessee's football season. This is somebody who had a great amount of hype attached to him, somebody who Vols fans were pleased to see stay committed even after Jeremy Pruitt got fired, but we'll get into that at great length over the course of tonight. So we'll talk about Kaidon Salter. We'll get into the way that the quarterback room is currently shaping up for the University of Tennessee, and then we will do our Thursday custom, the BRYMAK bounce back, which we will get into later this evening. Before we do any of this stuff, before we get the content machine up and rolling here on a Thursday, I need you guys to share this show across whichever platform you choose to consume us. If you are hanging out with us on Twitter, go ahead and retweet this show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It would be greatly appreciated if you would do that. Retweet the show. And if you're on Facebook Live, it's quite simple there as well. You can share. You can share now to public. That is how your Facebook friends get involved. I'm actually doing it with you right now here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Share now to public. That is how you do the thing on Facebook Live. And if you are hanging out with us on Twitch or on YouTube, subscribe to the A to Z Sports channel, where you can get involved with all things volunteers over the course of the evening. Louis Medina says, I thought you would can the primetime show. No, Louis, every once in a while I need a vacation, buddy. In fact, I got a little bit more coming up later in the summer, but that is not there. There is plenty of time there's plenty of time for me to take vacation. In the meantime, we got to talk University of Tennessee, because as Brad Lipford says, stay off the weed. We'll talk about it over the course of tonight's show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get things rolling. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, back and proud as ever to be presented to you by the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford. Since 1983, Two Rivers Ford has been providing you exceptional customer service and American-made, award-winning Ford vehicles. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. Give them a look. DraftKings Sportsbook and the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Promo code A to Z Sports gets you in on all the action, whether it be College World Series or NBA playoffs or anything in between. Promo code A2Z Sports in the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Gary Ashton and the Ashton Real Estate Group of REMAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. That is where you go for your dream address without the stress. That is how you get involved with the Ashton team and get put in a position to succeed on your real estate investments. BRYMAK Mechanical will put you in a position to be in your comfort zone this summer. BRYMAK, that's BRYMAK.com. Satisfaction guaranteed on all of your HVAC needs. They will hook you up for certain. Okay, so if you are unfamiliar with the Kaidon Salter saga, I'm certain most of you are probably up to speed, but he gave the University of Tennessee, it seems, no choice today in dismissing him. So the genesis of this story goes like this. He was suspended for about 3 months when he and a handful of other players were busted outside, or I can't remember, somewhere around Stokely Hall on campus for a pot charge. Now, he was not named because he was under 18. He turned 18 a month later. So now Kaidon Salter, when he gets busted again for marijuana possession, taillights out on the car, expired plates, like the whole 9 yards, just reckless behavior. And with, I believe it was 4 grams of pot. I almost said 4 ounces, which would be a tremendous amount of marijuana. That is not something that would be like drug. That would be like, crossing the border from Mexico, narcos type deal. No. It was 4 grams of pot that Kaidon Salter and an offensive lineman were found with. And so the University of Tennessee dismissed him from the football team today. So the question that I have for you guys in the comment section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, fair or foul, the measures that the University of Tennessee took today? Let me know in the comment section on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, or Twitch TV. Fair or foul, the University of Tennessee dismissing Kaidon Salter. Would be fascinated to hear your response. I think this is an interesting discussion. Jeff Rubel says he needs to have a chat with Stephen A. Smith, without question. Brad Lipford just says, get your damn taillights fixed, right? Like, if you're going to be stupid, at least try and mitigate your stupidity in other ways. But the question becomes, fair or foul? The University of Tennessee, the Vols, dismissing quarterback Kaidon Salter. Let me know in the comments section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. We will discuss at length together right after I tell you guys about the people who present the Two Rivers Ford Take each and every night. That's Two Rivers Ford. Since 1983, almost 40 years in the business, Two Rivers Ford has been hooking you up and hooking Middle Tennessee up and supporting the community as well as local sports teams. They've been around for almost 40 years, so you know when you buy a new car or a pre-owned vehicle, you're buying it from a dealership that has an exceptional reputation for award-winning customer service. They also have the Ford Blue Advantage program, which means that their pre-owned vehicles have been fully inspected, come with a warranty, and have 24/7 roadside assistance, just for that extra peace of mind. So that's what you should do when you're looking for a used car, truck, or SUV. Go see my friends at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, just 7 miles east of the airport, or online. Do your window shopping at tworiversford.com. So, fair or foul as it relates to Kaidon Salter, with Adam G52. I'm laughing because I'm reading some of the comments. 4 ounces, def not narco style. 4 pounds, maybe. All right, maybe a baby narco, Adam. Forgive me. My drug trafficking, the math on my drug trafficking is off a bit. All right, I apologize. My bad. 4 ounces. It's not 4 ounces. It's not 4 pounds. It's 4 grams. Everybody relax. Your excuse, says Adam G52. Too funny. Fair or foul? In the comment section, let me know on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, or on Twitch TV. So, the last time we heard from Josh Heupel, it's been a minute, but the last time we heard from Josh Heupel, if I recall, was after Kaidon Salter's initial suspension. And at the time, Heupel, I'll just let you hear from the head coach himself, because I'm sure the University of Tennessee put out a statement today saying they dismissed him, wishing him and his family the best in their future endeavors. I'm paraphrasing, but you guys know the drill. And so I think that he gave them no choice in doing so. I just really, really hate the result. Salter's IG story says never got arrested, just arrested, says Evan C. White. Well, that doesn't make any damn sense. But anyway, let's hear from the head coach, Josh Heupel, the first time that Kaidon Salter got suspended for pot.
Hey, Josh. Blake Tellmeyer from Knoxville News Sentinel. Did Kaidon Salter practice today?
Kaidon is not on the practice field today.
Why is he not practicing?
Kaidon's part of a group of individuals that are suspended from team activities at this point.
Is there any timeline for those guys to return to practice?
There isn't. That's being handled on campus, and as we receive information, we'll act accordingly. There's high expectations, high standards to represent Tennessee football, and at the same time, we're going to stay true to those kids and support them as they go through this process. And as we gain information, we'll be able to share that.
He was obviously tight-lipped. That's Josh Heupel, the head coach of the Tennessee Vols. The question is fair or foul, and I don't expect to see many fouls, to be honest with you, nor do I disagree. I think the answer here, appropriately, is fair. Aaron Goff says, hey, Buck, I just got home from dinner and trying to find my mom a new car. Well, that's perfect, Aaron. You can take her to Two Rivers Ford, new or pre-owned. They can hook you up. They can find a good fit for your lifestyle and for your mother's budget. More than fair. It was the only choice, says Evan C. White. Corey Smith agrees. Totally fair. Kid doesn't give a F, says Jeff Rubel. So, I mean, here's the situation, right? Because it's not about. I saw a lot of action. Action's probably not the right word. I saw a lot of interaction today on the radio show about this because this story broke right before we went on the air at 10 a.m. today with the radio show. So we're sitting there going through it, and I saw a lot of people in my mentions, and we do the live streaming of the radio show as well in the chat there, talking about, well, it's ridiculous that athletes are getting dismissed or suspended for marijuana use, yada yada yada. They were making it about the pot and not necessarily about the actions and really what amounts to a betrayal. Now, betrayal may seem like a strong word. And Kaidon Salter is 18 years old. Like, there are a million different stupid ass things that I have done in my life at 18 years old that are far more severe and far more serious than what Kaidon Salter has done here. Now, was it stupid? Of course. It was mind-numbingly stupid. Not just to have pot in the car, but to have the taillights out, to have expired tags, all of this stuff. It's a problem. And it shows a lack of good judgment. But more than anything, because I see Dom Odell's comment about, sending a message, and I look at Jeff Rubel's comment that you see on the screen below me saying that the kid, just simply doesn't give a damn. And I think it's about, a new head coach with a prized recruit from a previous administration, but honoring the commitment of the young man, of Kaidon Salter. I think really appreciating his commitment to Tennessee throughout the course of this thing. He committed to the university, not to the coach, right? So Heupel was respectful of that. And certainly in handling the situation that he did, they suspended him obviously for 3 months after the initial arrest. Excuse me, I've got something like stuck in my eye. It's driving me crazy. But they suspended him initially. He returned from suspension and then almost immediately gets popped for another possession charge again. This time he's 18. This time he can be named, and so we all know that it's Kaidon Salter. Now, 18 or 17, the university would have found out and they would have dismissed him anyway. But it's about a betrayal of trust at a position that it is critical for the head coach to have trust in. It's not just on the field of play. It's not just in the practice on the practice field. It's not just in the meeting rooms. You have to be able to trust your quarterback and his decision making more than anything else. Ask Jarrett Garantano, ask JG and Jeremy Pruitt, right? You have to be able to trust your quarterback's decision-making so if you call a play that your quarterback will not go rogue on the goal line against Alabama and go for a quarterback draw when that's not the play that's been called, right? Jarrett Garantano style. That's an example on the field. JG did not have these kind of issues off the field. Now, whether you want to call it a character issue, whether you want to say that he needs to grow up, I think that's very, very easy to say about an 18-year-old kid because that's what he is. He's a child. I mean, even guys that are getting to the pros now that I'm starting to now that I am considerably older than a lot of them. I'm going to be 28 in less than a month from now, and these dudes coming in are 20, 21, all of this stuff. And even then, like I look at them like I look at kids. It's just a little. It's jarring for me because that's a new experience and I hate it. But regardless, Kaidon Salter has to have the trust of his head coach. And the head coach has to have the trust of Kaidon Salter. That failed. That fell through as soon as he was popped for this second possession charge. So to me, it's fair. In terms of the University of Tennessee dismissing Kaidon Salter, they really didn't give him a choice. We'll get into more of this. We'll continue to take your comments on the matter. Fair or foul, Tennessee dismissing Kaidon Salter today. Before we do that, though, I will remind you quickly about our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. They are my favorite sportsbook, not just because it's the top-rated sportsbook in the country, but because it's so easy to use, easy to navigate, plenty of instructions, nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. You place a bet of at least $1 on any NBA team to win, and if that team wins, not only do you collect your winnings, but DraftKings is also throwing an additional. This is an extra. You could bet $1 and get a free $150 in site credits if you bet on a winning basketball team. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code A2Z Sports. That's the only way you get that free $150 in site credits. Promo code A2Z Sports when you sign up to have a shot at claiming $150 in free credits. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $150 in free credits in addition to your wager cashing. That's promo code A2Z Sports for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Tennessee only. Wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. DraftKings Sportsbook, promo code A2Z Sports. Fair or foul? What happened to Kaidon Salter at the hands of really by his own hand, but the University of Tennessee making the decision to dismiss him today. B. Groom on Periscope says no choice. Clayton says criminals aren't smart. I mean, Clayton, he's not a criminal. He's a kid who's smoking pot in college. I mean, I understand that by definition in the state of Tennessee, marijuana is illegal. I understand that there are many legal alternatives at this point between CBD and Delta 8 that Kaidon Salter could choose to use. I understand that he could probably get his taillights fixed regardless to avoid any kind of stupidity happening. But Clayton, let's not to call him an outright criminal because he had a little bit of pot in his car is dramatic. By definition, you are not wrong, but I think that's a little dramatic, don't you? Like, it's just, I don't think of Kaidon Salter as a criminal. I think of him as a dumb kid. And that's really it. He didn't get arrested. He got a citation. It's not that deep. I don't know if he went to, I don't know if he was booked, but it doesn't sound like he was because he wasn't arrested. He just got a ticket. So let's not get dramatic with the criminals aren't smart thing. So had more mug shots than practices, says B. Groom. Well, Isaiah Wilson. No, that's not nice. Isaiah never had a mug shot. That was a complete, I just got on Clayton for taking unwarranted shots. That was a completely unwarranted shot by me. Well, Isaiah Wilson has done nothing to deserve that. At least in the last, 6 months. Tom Odell says in the comment section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, weed isn't bad, but once you make it habitual and it becomes a distraction from your duties, you have to cut it out. It can become a gateway drug if you let it take you over. Yeah, I mean, I think there are some people that do that pot does have that effect on. And I'm not here to argue the benefits or the cost benefit analysis of marijuana, recreational use, medical use, whatever. Like, you guys are adults, you can make your own decisions. And in the state of Tennessee, you can make neither of those decisions because neither of them are legal at this point. Shout out Big Pharma. But I think to call Luke Corbett, no, that's not a I love you but come on situation, because I just took a shot at Isaiah. Like, that's not Luke, I normally do it every time I see it from you, but this does not warrant a I love you but come on. But I appreciate you standing at the ready. Actually, a felony makes you a criminal, says Jason Raines. Yeah, and this is not a felony. I'm a cop. It would have been a misdemeanor citation, says Clayton. Okay, that's good context, Clayton. I appreciate that, and this is why you guys are such a good audience, because you are able to provide me context that I don't know. I've never been. Have I been arrested? It's probably not something I should. Probably not something I should be contemplating on my professional platform. But I have not in my life been arrested. I have had run-ins with the law, as I'm sure all of us, or maybe not all of us, have had. But I think I don't have the context of. I've never gotten a marijuana possession citation or a charge or anything. You would know if you'd been arrested, says Clayton. Yeah, maybe. Run-in, says Adam G52. How do you not remember if you've been arrested, says Jeff Rubel? Well, maybe it was a public intox, Jeff. You don't know. But let me not self-incriminate unnecessarily whilst doing my job here on A to Z Sports Prime Time. The show is already off the rails and we're only 20 minutes in. Anyway, Fair or foul in the comment section. The Vols dismissing Kaidon Salter today. It's fair, but I still hate it. I hate it for a great many reasons. I think he's an extremely talented kid. I think that the whole marijuana situation, it's not about the pot. It's about the betrayal of trust between the coach and the player. So I'm not gonna lose my mind about it, right? But it does just overall stink because I think a lot of people had hoped and had been very pleased with Kaidon Salter, just the commitment that he had shown to the University of Tennessee. Now, maybe other universities knew of red flags and were not trying to flip him the way that other schools were trying to do with commitments to the University of Tennessee after Jeremy Pruitt got fired. These are details I'm not familiar with. I'm very ignorant when it comes to the world of recruiting. I'll be the first to admit that. I don't have the bandwidth for recruiting on top of everything else that I cover. Not sure why it hasn't been legalized already. Just tax the hell out of it, says Coach Payton. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to do the pot, legalize marijuana or, marijuana's bad show tonight. I'm just tonight, as if I'm going to do it in the future on the primetime show. I don't think it's not about the pot. It's about Josh Heupel, going to bat for this kid once and immediately, as soon as he's back from suspension, getting popped again. But let's not get bogged down. So Buck, how long till he ends up at Ole Miss, says Jeff Rubel. Well, no, I think Raging Iguana on Periscope says, I think he'll go JUCO, then bounce back in a year or two. I hope so. I really do hope the best for Kaidon Salter. The University of Tennessee said the same in their statement. I'm sure they're pissed about it, but I hope that he does well. I think that he is everything that I've seen from him in the limited high school clips that I've seen of Kaidon Salter. And maybe that's not the best sample size, so maybe I shouldn't be evaluating him as a talent, but he's incredibly talented, it seems. And he would not be the level of recruit, the star level of recruit that he was. About to go to FCS at UT Martin, says Clayton Smith. Can you imagine if he goes tears it up at UT Martin? That would be wild. One-time transfer, doesn't have to sit, says Jeff Rubel. 100% so. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about who's up next for the University of Tennessee, because the quarterback, it doesn't make the quarterback picture much more clear. Surprising to know what. And I see Low Grady's comment, but I did notice his comment. I haven't read his comment yet, but as much as I noticed his what do you want to call it? His avatar on Twitter. I just got my Vols villains, Tennessee baseball villain shirt in the mail yesterday after they've been bounced from the College World Series. So I thought about wearing that tonight on the show, but there's enough bad things going on in the lives of Vols fans, so let me not lean in more to it. Okay, let's talk about who's up next, or who could be up next in the quarterback room for the Tennessee Vols. Let's get into it in the comment section. Which remaining Vols QB, because there's several at this point, there's 4 as opposed to now 5. Which remaining Vols QB has the best chance to start? Let me know in the comment section on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, and on Twitch. We will discuss at length together, and we will welcome the discussion that you guys bring. Let me know in the comment section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm looking. Oh man, there is not all of every one of the comments so far across all 4 of the social platforms, I think has been dead wrong, if that's any kind of a tease. So we'll get into that here in just a second, right after I tell you about our friends at BRYMAK Mechanical. Satisfaction guaranteed on all of your HVAC needs. That is what BRYMAK Mechanical offers you. BRYMAK, BRYMAK.com. Chris Hamby, Ms. Sherry, they provide exceptional customer service. Satisfaction guaranteed, as I mentioned, commercially or residentially. They have the ability to do it all for you. If you need improved air quality, they can do duct work as well. BRYMAK Mechanical, BRYMAK, that's BRYMAK.com. All right, so who is in the best position? Which remaining Vols QB has the best chance to start at this point? Evan C. White. So here's where I'm going with this, but let me first read this comment from Jason Raines, because this is spectacular. Buck spent the last 3 days at Holiday World in your motherland of Indiana. It was a blast. Indiana actually just gives you free Busch Light for entering the state. It's true. It's a proven fact. Busch Light doesn't even advertise on this show, but that is That is nectar of the gods in the state of my youth, the state of my birth. I have spent almost every summer of my, not recently, since I've lived in Tennessee for coming up on 6 years. You guys have been stuck with me for 6 years. That's wild. But yes, they do. Just when you cross the border from Kentucky into Indiana, or from Illinois into Indiana, they just straight up hand you a Busch Light. It's our way of greeting you, because that's the only thing that we offer outside of, morbid obesity. Anyway, Harrison Bailey is who Evan C. White says, which Vols quarterback now has the best opportunity or the best chance to start. Clayton Smith also says it's all Bailey, QB1. HB15 is not wrong. He is the answer, says Evan C. White. Milton or Bailey, says Low Grady. It's got to be Hooker, right? Jeff Rubel says, talking about Hendon Hooker, the Virginia Tech transfer. Probably just got to roll with Bailey, says Dom Odell. Coach Payton says, whoever can throw a slant route. So what I will say to you is that Hendon Hooker, I thought had the best credentials. He had been recruited by Heupel at UCF. He has played in a system similar, or at least that asks similar things of what Josh Heupel does with his offense, assuming that we are going to see the same style of offense. Maybe they'll change it up a little bit to better fit the players, but that's more a pro thing as opposed to college. College, they install the system that the coach feels is best typically. But Hendon Hooker, it sounds like is not at the top of the list. Now, almost all of you, let me not say all of you, I don't want to cast a wide net, but a lot of you are saying Harrison Bailey. And listen, reporters don't know everything, okay? And I'm not talking about me, because I don't cover the Vols. I mean, I cover the Vols on the talk show, but I don't cover the Vols the way that I do the Titans, right? So I rely on my friends who do what I do for the Titans in Knoxville with the Tennessee Volunteers. I have, of all of the Vols writers and reporters that I have on a regular basis on the radio show or on the 615 Sessions podcast, David Ubben, Trey Wallace, let's see, who else have we had on? Blake Topmeyer, who is now an SEC columnist, but formerly a Vols beat writer. Almost everybody we talk to has said that it is Joe Milton's job to lose, the Michigan transfer. Now, Harrison Bailey, I think, is the bright, shiny toy that you saw at the end of last season, and you shook your fist at the sun, saying, damn you, Jeremy Pruitt, damn you, Jim Chaney, for not figuring out how to use this man better instead of just, having him hand the ball off the entire time that he comes into the end of a blowout, and then the one pass that he throws gets tipped up for a pick or whatever the hell it was. I mean, I can't remember what exactly game it was, but I remember just being so furious watching what they were asking Harrison Bailey to do, or really not do, for whatever reason. Jeff Rubel says, if Milton is the QB, the Vols are screwed. Now, things can change. Things can absolutely change. Mabern Wright asked, did Eric Gray leave? Yeah, Eric Gray left the Vols in January, or maybe a little after January, after Jeremy Pruitt got fired. A lot of people did. I don't know if you knew that or not, Mabern, but it's been a while since we've talked Vols football. But Milton is who, almost by consensus, all of my friends who I have on the various shows that I do to talk about Tennessee, boots on the ground wise, have said it's Joe Milton. Now, Clayton says, did Milton play in the spring game? He did not. He did not. He was a recent acquisition. I think it was I can't remember if it was the week before the spring game, but it was it was close enough before the spring game that they did not feel comfortable putting him in the spring game. So we have not seen Joe Milton. Now, Jeff Rubel is an Ohio State fan. He's obviously familiar with Joe Milton because Milton is a Michigan transfer, saying Milton is just a bigger, less mobile version of JG. Accuracy issues, and that is a trigger for every Vols fan who's hanging out in the comment section tonight. But ultimately, it sounds like, and again, we have so much time remaining in this offseason for things to kind of bear out, but it does seem like Joe Milton, when last we talked about Vols football, or since last we talked about Vols football, has for some reason, and I don't know. I'm not in Knoxville. I'm just going off what I'm told by people who I trust and who do great reporting on the Vols. It just seems like Joe Milton is who they are favoring at this point, which I find to be fascinating because as Jeff Rubel pointed out, Joe Milton was nothing special at Michigan. That much I do know. Dude lost his starting job versus Rutgers. Alex Bates Evans says that's disappointing to hear. Again, we have no idea if that will be the case by the time we get to the end of August and early September when the Vols start playing actual football games. No clue whatsoever. But what I would say to you is that Joe Milton has a ton of game experience, as Dom Odell is asking. Joe Milton has been a starting quarterback before. Harrison Bailey has not. Hendon Hooker has as well. I did not see all of the Vols spring game, or at least it's been long enough since I've seen the Vols spring game because that's taken place many months ago at this point. So I can't remember. I remember Hendon Hooker not blowing me away, not necessarily impressing me. Hooker, which is why I said him, says Jeff Rubel. It is possible that they choose to go with a veteran quarterback to kind of steady this thing while they get their stuff sorted out. Bailey was a sniper, says Evan C. White. I don't, of the guys that are discussed, I don't think Bailey's that close. I don't. And again, I only go off the information that I receive, so I'm giving you this information secondhand from people that do the job of reporters in Knoxville. But it seems like Harrison Bailey's chances at starting for this football team are not what Vols fans might hope that they would be. All right, let's put a bow on this short week of primetime shows. Back for a full week next week. Before I take vacation again, and I leave you for a little longer next time. But in the meantime, let's do the BRYMAK bounce back here on A to Z Sports Prime Time from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios. Heading into the sports weekend, who needs to bounce back? One team who needs to bounce back is playing right now in the NBA Western Conference Finals, but we can get to them momentarily. Here on A to Z Sports Prime Time, let me know in the comment section who in sports needs to have a bounce back performance, a team, a player, whomever, maybe just a general figure in sports, because Jay Williams has had a rough week on social media. Jay Williams of ESPN, and of course, did Jay Williams play at Duke or North Carolina? I want to say Jay Williams played at Duke, right? I'm forgetting. That seems really bad. He played at one of the Carolina schools. I can't remember. Somebody will remind me in the comment section. My bad. Duke. Thank you. That's what I thought. I don't know why I got mixed up. Anyway, Jay Williams had a bad week on Twitter. Maybe Jay Williams is your bounce back candidate of the week. Anyway, while you guys give us your BRYMAK bounce back candidates, I will tell you about our friends at BRYMAK Mechanical. BRYMAK, BRYMAK.com. Satisfaction guaranteed on all of your HVAC needs. BRYMAK.com. All right, so who needs to bounce back this week? Let me know in the comment section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. Is Tate Martell still available, says Jeff Rubel? I don't know the answer to that question. Listen, the transfer portal is not going well. There's a bunch of dudes in the transfer portal with nowhere to go. So it's entirely possible that Tate Martell's still out there. Let's see. Brad Lipford says, yeah, like you with the damn combine. What? I need to bounce back because of the combine? I mean, listen, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time bitching about the NFL, going for the money and just, always every damn time choosing greed over what makes the most sense for the sake of the event that's being put on. I hate that the combine's going to move. If it comes to Nashville, it's going to be great. Nashville will do it great. It'll be great for me because I won't have to leave my home, but it's perfect in Indianapolis. Indianapolis is so well set up for that event. And I'm just so tired of the money grab with the NFL. They're going to ruin something that's so much fun and so important to everybody in the football world and make it for fans when it's not really a fan event. And I don't say that because I'm trying to keep something from you. It's just like, do you guys want to stand outside and watch on a television screen some dude watch the 40? I mean, maybe you do. Everybody's always going to consume more football, but God, it just pisses me off. So yeah, now I don't need to bounce back. The NFL needs to bounce back. They need to get their head out of their ass and not move the combine. But I digress. Alex Bates Evans says the Bucks, man, because King Mofaka says the Atlanta Falcons. No, the Atlanta Falcons are the hottest team in basketball. Right? I mean, maybe it's the Suns. I shouldn't say that the Hawks are the hottest team in basketball, but the Suns are really good. But the Falcons dismantled the Knicks, took down the Sixers, now went into Milwaukee in game 1 last night. Trae Young just putting on a performance, just completely and totally alphaing everybody in the city of Milwaukee in that arena. It was a spectacular performance, and that was on top of what Vandy did yesterday. I mean, we did the show, and Vandy was down. They had an incredible comeback last night. They bounced back already. So we can't give out the bounce back retroactively, but Jesus, Vanderbilt, I mean, listen, Stanford had to blow that game for Vandy to win, but still, it was hugely impressive. Oh, Dom Odell with the winner, man. Because it's not just the Clippers, it's Paul George. Paul George hit what we thought was the game-winning basket. What would that have been on Tuesday night? Before the Suns came back and won it in a spectacular fashion. DeAndre Ayton with the alley-oop dunk to win the game. It was so good, but it came after. So Paul George hits what should have been the game winner for the Clippers, and then he misses 2 free throws. I'm a Pacers fan, okay? I've got Reggie Miller court, I don't want to turn my whole setup around so that you guys can see the rest of the stuff that hangs in my office here, but I've got a Reggie Miller court street sign hanging above my window in the office. I'm a Pacers fan, so I know what the Paul George experience is like. Man, PG is forever going to be this thing. Way off P was trending, says Evan C. White. No, it's Pandemic P. That was a Pandemic P performance. My God, not playoff P, which honestly sounds like a venereal disease. No, Pandemic P was there in full force on Tuesday night. Paul George, not even the Clippers. Paul George needs to bounce back. Dear God. Evan C. White says the NFL needs to bounce back. Can anyone see my comments? I wonder, says Lewis Cheston. Yeah, Lewis, but we don't read every comment that you make because a lot of time, Lewis, I love you to death, but you're just shouting random shit in the comment section on Facebook. Buddy, if it was relevant to the show, I'd read it. You know what I'm saying? And I love Lewis. Lewis shows up every night. Lewis always provides some kind of ridiculous comment that at least gives us variety when everybody else is going right. Lewis goes left. But Lewis, I'm not going to read every comment that you throw in there. The call it needs to talk to Arnold to come back, says Mayburn Wright. I have no idea what that comment means. Maybe I'm missing something. Rick Carlisle, your new coach, says Texas Sports 1015. Yeah, congrats, Buck. It's true. It's true. This is indeed the case. Pandemic P is also awesome, says Evan C. White. Well, he's not awesome. He's he's a pandemic. He's a plague. Anyway, the organization, producer Reed and myself, we came up with the BRYMAK bounce back candidate. Initially, we said, Reed, it was the Clippers. It has to be Paul George. I hate to do that to you last minute. It is Paul George. Paul George has to find a way to do something because the Clippers right now are down 0-2. I want a Suns-Hawks final anyway because I love this. I love watching the Suns play, and to see NBA playoff games in Atlanta would be absolutely nuts. I would love that for the sport. But Paul George needs to be capable of doing something tonight. It's without question at this point. He is in a bad way. Combine needs to stay in Indy, says Mayburn Wright. That's what I'm saying. Just leave it there. Please, dear God. Please. It's not going to happen. It's going to stay in 2022, but then they're going to sell it to the highest bidder like they do with everything in the NFL. Because why the hell not? That's the end of trying to look for a graceful way. I was trying to look for a graceful way to end the show, but that's the end of the show. Only 2 shows this week. Shortened vacation week for me, but we will be back. We will do another full week before I take yet another vacation in future weeks. But until then, we are going to have a great time. We're going to bring you lots of Titans content. Didn't talk Titans once this week, which is fine because there's nothing going on with the Titans. But I will be able to provide you some great Titans content next week. And I have, I've been making a lot of, at least in the last 6 months, it feels like we've been having a lot of announcements around here. I've got an exciting new project. Well, actually 2 exciting new projects for this coming football season that I think we're going to be able to roll out in the next 2 weeks. So I will keep you guys informed on that because you're going to love the content. You know why? Because I'm not tired yet. And we got a lot more content to do. Have a fantastic weekend. See you guys Sunday night. I already said the line, but I'm not tired yet. Let's go.